Hello? Welcome once again to Stuff and Things, where I like to talk about stuff and occasionally even things. I'm your good friend Bradley, and today I'm a little bit under the weather. And the weather that I'm under is a typically overcast, threatening rain, windy day in early June in Bellingham, Washington, the Pacific Northwest. Not quite summer-like here. I'm not in the greatest mood because I am a little sick. No worries, I'll be fine. It's just a cold, I think. But then I also had to say goodbye to my brother, his wife, and my little niece. They're moving back to Texas. We had a little dinner for them last night. So I'm kind of sad about that as well. But I'm sure I'll be visiting them. They'll be visiting back here. But it is a Sunday Stuff and Things. And we have stuff and things to talk about on this Sunday Stuff and Things, including upcoming videos, things that you can look forward to on Stuff and Things and working. I'm going to be getting into a supersized, I have to make sure all this stuff doesn't blow away, version of hashtag Ask Stuff and Things, because we didn't do Ask Stuff and Things last week, and now I've got the questions from the previous week and the last week that we'll be going through. So a little sick, so we're not going to be getting too crazy with a bunch of other topics, but we'll talk about upcoming videos, and then I'll be answering your questions because the feedback is super important to me. So let's get into it. By the way, I am here right now. It's a place that we call Junk Beach. I'm not sure what the actual title of this park. Is it a park? I don't know if it's a park. There aren't any picnic tables, there aren't any bathrooms or anything like that. But we always used to call it Junk Beach because there used to be just garbage everywhere here. Looks like they've cleaned it up pretty well, but I used to come here when I was a kid quite a bit. Anyway, what can you look forward to on Stuff and Things and working? Well, this week we're gonna have a video where we finally answer the question, what happened to my gerbils? Are they still alive? So that video is coming up this week. The week after that, we're gonna be talking about the Lochby Venture pouch that I've been using as my on-the-go pipe kit. So we already did a review of this, but I did a video just talking about how it has been as an on-the-go pipe kit, and I've been using it in such a way for about 2 weeks now, and it's been working really well. So I want to get into that. It's actually kind of perfect for that. So that will be coming up, and then we are going to have a review of these Shinzo Tamura sunglasses. These are the Umeda Onyx HD sunglasses. These were sent to me by Shinzo Tamura from Japan, and I want to mention this is sort of sponsored in that I got these for free, and then there will be an affiliate link in that video. So if you tap that affiliate link and you end up purchasing any sunglasses from Shinzo Tamura, I'll get to wet my beak a little bit, which is a nice turn of events, I'd say. After that, we are going to be talking about the Old Boss. This is the anniversary blend from Sutliff. The Old Boss, it's their 175th anniversary blend. So we'll be doing a first impressions video on that. And then working episode 29 is coming up, and that is a question and answer episode. I get questions all the time on my working channel, people asking me about some of the process of construction, just general questions about concrete work, things like that. And so every once in a while, I'll do a video where I grab some of those questions, some of the ones that I think will be the most interesting for you to hear, and I answer them. So that'll be coming up, I believe, this Friday on Working. So lots of good stuff coming up. Please stay tuned. Just got interrupted by a very cute dog. So as I mentioned, not feeling great, but that'll pass, that'll be fine. Not super pleased by the fact that my little brother is moving away. Again, that will pass, that'll be fine. But I am pleased about all of this feedback that we have in hashtag Ask Stuff and Things. Remember, if you have a question for me and you would like it answered on Sunday Stuff and Things, you can tweet at SATBradley with the hashtag Ask Stuff and Things. You can also write to me via Patreon if you are a Patreon supporter and go right to the front of the line. Or you can leave questions, comments, and feedback in the comment section of my YouTube videos, like many of you have done over the past couple weeks. So we're going to be traveling back in time a little bit. We have feedback from the week before last week's Sunday Stuff and Things. So we're not going to answer every single one of the ones from the week before last, but we were talking about Fauda, that Israeli TV show. We were talking about the Lochby Venture pouch and the Quattro, so we're going to have some feedback from some of those things. So at Colin Kelly 279 says, brother, you had me at The Wire. I was comparing Fauda slightly to The Wire. It's not as good as The Wire at all, but just in comparison, the fact that it's from the Israeli perspective, but they also focus on the Palestinians as well. He says, I started my prosecutorial career in Baltimore. That's where The Wire takes place, though I escaped quickly. Thanks for the lead on episode 1 now. I hope your world is spinning better. At Solar Labyrinth says, I spy some good books there behind you. So I was recording that episode in front of my bookshelf. Book of the New Sun by Gene Wolfe, an amazing series. The Aubrey Maturin series, which is also amazing. The Hyperion series. Lord of the Rings, Jack Vance. I know you're not a booktuber, but I would love a bookshelf tour sometimes. I've spent an embarrassingly large amount of time watching bookshelf videos in the past. I had no idea that was a thing. It makes sense now that someone has mentioned that would be a genre on YouTube. Maybe I would do that if there are other people who would like to see that. I got rid of a ton of books when I moved. I just had way too many, and books are heavy and they're hard to lug around all the time. So I did get rid of a ton of more kind of esoteric books that I probably wouldn't be rereading anytime soon. But yeah, that's something. If any of you are interested in seeing that, let me know in the comments. We also have some feedback from at Shinlangan. I started watching Fauda per your recommendation. Such a great show. Last time when you recommended The Last Dance, that was that cool documentary on the Chicago Bulls. I also enjoyed it. Your taste is probably very similar to your viewers, so that's why we like your content so much. Well, thank you so much, Shinlangan. Then we have the feedback from the Lochby product. So I reviewed the Lochby Venture Pouch here, and then the Lochby Quattro, which is a fountain pen holder. Smashing Artful said, that thing looks super cool. I agree. At Pete Sorino says, great review. I never really saw the point of EDC as carrying as much stuff with you as possible. Sure, some people do that. I just like having a well thought out way of having everything I need at hand, even if it's quality over quantity. So I was complaining about the term EDC and how some people seem to just load themselves with so much stuff that they supposedly carry with them every day. And no, I don't think that that's what EDC means, just loading yourself down with as much as humanly possible. So a lot of people took issue with that, and I think rightly so. We have at ClanMac271 who said, thanks for the review. I actually purchased one of the Venture Pouches about a week ago and use it as a multi-day travel pipe case. So at ClanMac271 is the person who I think was the first one, that's a weird sentence, who mentioned that they were using the Venture Pouch as a pipe kit. And I definitely noticed when I was reviewing it that it might be good for that as well. But then quite a few other people mentioned it too, and then that's why I decided I would do a video on that and use it myself as a pipe kit. It easily fits enough pipes, tea, and accessories for 2 to 4 days away from home, and I love the feel of the canvas. Yeah, I've definitely been really enjoying using this as a pipe kit, and the fact that I can actually fit a tin of pipe tea in here too, along with, I usually only carry one pipe with me at once, but with the tools I need, everything can fit right in this, which is very nice. All right, so that was the feedback from the week before last. Now we're gonna get into the feedback from last week. So we had the Sunday Stuff and Things where I was talking about a little bit about these sunglasses. I was talking about discovering Blondie's 3rd and 4th albums. I think I talked about the Cars a little bit as well. So let's see what you guys had to say about that. At MTATE02 said, Sunnies look good on you, bro. Really suit you. Well, thank you. At Hallie's Ledger and Lace says, I remember roller skating as a teenager to the Cars and Blondie and Devo. Good stuff. That's a cool memory. I'm not old enough quite to, I don't think, was there ever a roller rink? I think there might have been a roller rink in town when I was a kid, but I think the height of roller rinks was like probably the late 70s, early 80s, so I was a little young for that era, but very cool. At Alex Saunders 2563 says, Bradley, if you focus more on EDC, you would have had a good 3 or 4 knives that you could have used to open that box of glasses. Just saying, your good friend Alec. Yeah, so when I was trying to unbox these sunglasses, I did not have a knife on me. I almost always do have a knife on me, so it was kind of weird that I didn't, but I thought that was kind of funny that I was complaining about EDC and then I did not have a knife. At Foamage says, man, I love finding a book that you love and then finding out there are loads more. So fulfilling. And yeah, I've read more of the pronunciation here. I think it's Le Carré. I was saying Le Carré before. I'm into the second book now. Well, it's not the second book in the series, but the second book of his that I'm reading. It's called The Looking Glass War. It takes place chronologically after The Spy Who Came In From the Cold. I'm loving that as well. And I'm really happy to have found this series and this author where I know there are multiple books that I'm really going to love. At RushFan3 says, "Hey Bradley, I'm 15 years older than you. I remember when The Cars and Blondie came out. Never saw either band live, but I was fortunate enough to see Benjamin Orr, so he's from The Cars, open for Styx at a show here in New York City. He did the hit Drive that he sang with The Cars. Who's gonna drive you home? That song? It was amazing. I also love the sunglasses you're wearing. I wear glasses, and I got transition lenses that became sunglasses, or become sunglasses when I'm outside. We'll check out the latest episode of Working. I love that series. Please enjoy your book. Cheers." Thank you very much. We have at Robert Games 6571, who says, "You should check out the BBC production of Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. It can be found on YouTube. Alec Guinness plays Smiley even better, and the BBC version is extremely based on the book. Almost word for word, and is much longer than the movie and has more depth." So when I got this comment, I had already watched up to, I think, the 4th episode of that BBC series from 1979, and it is really, really good. And I was talking about loving that kind of grimy 70s British Cold War genre, and that has it in spades. That BBC production is really good. I will watch the Smiley's People BBC production. I think that came out in 81 or 82, but I need to read up through that first. I don't want to watch that and then read the novel. I want to read the novel first. But yeah, really good. I highly recommend that. And it's all available on YouTube too. So BBC, Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy with Alec Guinness, and then Smiley's People. I don't think they did the book that takes place in between those two, but very good. Then at WS Timo says, "I've read all..." Okay, so this is the person who corrected my pronunciation. He says pronounced Carrie. I'm not exactly sure. I think it's Le Carré, maybe. I've read all of Jean... It's funny because that's his pen name, and he's a British guy, but he's using this French-sounding pen name. "I've read all of Jean Le Carré in order. Fantastic books." And then we have feedback from the Plum Pudding Cigar. So I did want to point out, I recorded the episode or the video on the Seattle Pipe Club Plum Pudding Cigar. I explained, I think very distinctly, that I don't know a ton about cigars. And I think I smoked maybe half of it by the time that video was done. And I was talking about how sour it tasted, which was really weird. I had never had a cigar that tasted that sour. And then a lot of people mentioned in the comments that if I got down to the finish, it probably would have changed quite a bit. And it did. It definitely did. By the time I got to the end of that cigar, it did not taste anywhere near as sour as it did through kind of the first half of it. Still had a bit of that sourness, but I definitely liked the last bit of it more than I liked the beginning of it. So we have some feedback from that. This is from at Rodrigo777. "Hey Bradley, maybe give us an update on a Sunday as to how the cigar smoked down." So I just did that. "I'm curious, since cigars tend to change a lot in flavor as they burn. I can't remember a cigar where I had a strong sour note in the first third. It usually happens in the last third and signals me it's time to put it down." And yeah, and you can get that from pipe blends as well too, where sometimes just the moisture and the oils and everything from essing it will make it more sour, more acrid sometimes too. And it wasn't like that with the cigar. It got less sour as I went and a little more earthy. So interesting. We have at Joe Schmo 6720. "Cheroot Kentucky cigars, or quick smoke cigars, like the ones Clint Eastwood esses in spaghetti westerns, are the Pipe Esser's cigar. They have a different taste profile than standard cigars, kind of aromatic and bold, but are delightful to ess, and they look like literal sticks. Toscano is a well-known quality brand. I was all for trying this when they came out, but I'm getting the sense that they were a marketing ploy." I'm assuming he's talking about the plum pudding ones now. "And if a pipe esser can't detect any plum pudding, then what's the point? Good review though. Looks like a lovely day where you're at. Thanks for the review." So thank you for this comment, because I did look those up. I have heard of those before. I've never actually had one, but I did order some of the Toscanos, and I will definitely do a video on those soon. I think that'll be cool. At Lone Wolf 52377 says, "I'm not a big cigar guy, but I did grab a few of the SPC Plum Pudding Toro cigars. I had one and wasn't a fan at all. I had the Robusto. I heard they also have the Robusto, which is what I have, which might be better, but for now I'll stick to essing my pea. Thanks for sharing your thoughts, Bradley." Yeah, I don't know how much difference there is. Is that just the shape and the wrapper? Again, I don't know a ton about cigars, but what's the difference between a Toro and a Robusto? Is it just the shape? I don't know. At Tom Brown, finally, 1898 says, Bradley, are you sure there really is pipe tea in that cigar? Knowing how hand-rolled cigars are made and knowing how pipe tea is blended, I can't really imagine how they could successfully bring it off. This may be way off base, but is it possible that Sutliff simply contracted with the cigar producer and had a band made with plum pudding on it? In short, it's named for the pipe blend, and that's it. Just a thought. I kind of thought that too, but every bit of research I did, everyone claims that there is plum pudding in this. When you go to the SPC website, when you go to any of the manufacturer's websites, it says it contains Nicaraguan and plum pudding pipe tea. Again, I don't know if they're just taking a tin off the shelf and sprinkling it in as they're rolling the cigar. That doesn't seem to make sense to me. Maybe they're taking the leaves, like the full leaves that they would use in the plum pudding blend, and intermixing those. I don't know exactly. I didn't rip the cigar apart to take a look at it. Maybe I should do that with the next one. Maybe cut a little off and unravel it and see if I can find anything. But everything says, every source I could find does say that it does include plum pudding in there. I don't know. Anyway, it was an interesting experience. I'm definitely going to have the next one. Maybe I will chop a little bit off that one, though, and crack it open. That might be an interesting video. I'll have to think about that. But thank you for all the feedback. I'm glad I was able to get caught up this week. Next week, we'll have our normal window of feedback on hashtag #AskStuffandThings. My voice is going to be going pretty soon. I have a pretty sore throat, pretty stuffed up, so I'm probably going to wander home here in a bit and start editing. But thank you all so much for watching. But now it's time for the very best part of the show, and that is where we thank our Patreon supporters. Remember, if you would like to support the channels on Patreon, there is a link in the description box below, and it is much appreciated. It helps pay for the fancy camera that is filming this video. It helps pay for products for review, and it really just makes it possible for me to make this kind of content. If you like this kind of stuff on YouTube, your support on Patreon makes it possible. So thank you so much. We still have that drive to get $105 supporters, but every week we like to shout out those who support the channels at $25 or more a month, the producers of the Stuff and Things channel and working. People like Glenn Dunnington, Jason Buckner, Ryan McFadin, Arcturus, Ashes of the Phoenix, Jonathon Proctor, Kyle Waitkunas, ConCoClem, Charles Mowers, and the Friendly Piper. And of course, the Maniacs, the crazy people who support the channels at $100 a month, people like Bob Magee. And we'll never forget our dearly departed friend and Hall of Fame member, Peter Straub. Gang, thank you so much for watching. Please stay tuned for all the good stuff coming up on Stuff and Things and Working. Like I said, next week will be the Are My Gerbils Still Alive video. After that, we'll be talking about the Lochby Venture Pouch as an on-the-go pipe kit. We'll get into these Shinzo Tamura Umeda Onyx HD sunglasses. We'll be getting into the Old Boss from Sutliff. Lots of good stuff coming up. So please stay tuned. But until next time, until we meet again, I've been your good friend Bradley. You've been the audience. This has been Stuff and Things on a Sunday Stuff and Things. I'll see you later.